Should you go to law school? Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be talking to you guys about should you go to law school. This will be the first video in a playlist of videos in which I am talking about law school. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, check out the entire playlist. But let's get started. Should you go to law school? Well, if you're asking this question and you genuinely don't know the answer, I'm going to start by suggesting that that's not a great sign. However, if you're asking this question and you kind of already know the answer and you're just kind of doing your due diligence, I'll suggest that that is actually a very good thing and suggest that maybe law school is right for you. So we're going to answer all your questions in this video. And I want to start by talking about should you not go to law school, and then, signs that maybe you should go to law school, and then end with a couple of things to consider. Hopefully you can see this whiteboard. I know it might be hard to see, but if you pause, you could probably zoom in and get a better look. But let's get started. And I know my handwriting is not the best, but it is what it is. So who should not go to law school? Well, I think the number one reason you should not go to law school is if you don't know why. You need to be asking yourself, what is my why? What is my reason? Is it money? Is it to have a steady career? Is it because I have an interest in law and public policy? Some of these are good reasons. Some of these are not such great reasons. We'll talk about that here very shortly, but you need to have a very concrete why. If you do not know why you are going, I would suggest that you should not go to law school. The second thing, parents. If your parents are telling you should go to law school, and this is the reason why you think you should go to law school, I think that this is another sign that you should not go to law school. Maybe you're just wanting to go to law school because your grandfather was a lawyer, or your dad is a lawyer, or mother is a lawyer, or something of that nature. And although family businesses are a great thing, I would suggest that if your only reasoning for going to law school is my parents are doing it, or my parents are pushing me to do it, I would suggest that that is another reason you should not go to law school. Another reason you should not go to law school is if you don't like reading. If you don't like reading, law school is going to be very difficult to get through. You have very large textbooks, a lot of reading assignments, and so if you don't like reading, you should probably not go to law school. Stress/easily offended. If you're someone who gets really stressed out, exams are a lot of pressure, and answering questions on the spot is a lot of pressure, and you don't like to, be called on or get called out for being wrong or something like this, you have a lot of anxiety or something, I would suggest that maybe you should not go to law school. Now, there are probably people who would disagree because there are obviously many different ways of practicing law, right? So there are introverted people who are able to, find different niches that work well with their personalities. Not everyone has to be some, super boisterous litigator who's just really charismatic and, outgoing, if you will. So don't let your personality, be the reason you don't go. But I'm just saying, like, if you can't deal with time pressure, right? Or maybe you're just afraid of failing, right? I think these are reasons you should not go to law school. Another reason you should not go to law school is to get rich, right? If you think that, I'm going to go to law school, that way I can be rich, I would suggest that you should really reconsider going to law school, because not everyone gets a big law job and is paid six figures. I would suggest to you, though, that going into the practice of law, you will have a good career, right? You'll have a steady job, hopefully. It would be a way to be able to provide for yourself and provide for your family. But if you're thinking that you're going to be making six figures and maybe millions and millions of dollars and, I'll just be a lawyer and get rich, that's not true, right? There are many lawyers and not many of them are rich, right? Many of them just have good lives, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so that's a reason you should not go to law school, right? Last reason you should not go to law school is you've been watching Suits and you want to emulate Suits or A Few Good Men, or I forgot what the other one is that's on Netflix with the girl attorney and she's working in big law, right? But if you've been influenced by TV shows, et cetera, this is a reason you should not go to law school. So why should you go to law school, right? And again, this is my own subjective opinion. I'm sure there are people who may disagree, people who may have other good reasons for going to law school. But some of them that I have identified, number one is you're passionate, right? You have a passion for law. You have a passion for public policy. Maybe you have a passion for the Constitution. Or maybe you have a passion for civil liberties, right? I wrote my law school entrance essay on civil liberties in the digital era, right? So you have a passion for freedom of speech and Second Amendment rights and whatever the case may be, right? These are good reasons to go to law school. You just have a genuine passion about these things. You like learning about them. You want to learn more. I think that's a good reason to go to law school. Another good reason to go to law school is you are interested in business. If you are someone who maybe you're actually, considering getting an MBA. You studied economics, you studied business administration in undergraduate, something of that nature. And you're just business minded, right? You don't really necessarily have like an entrepreneurship idea or a startup idea, but you like the corporate life, I think that's actually a great reason to go to law school. And I would actually submit to you that law school is a better option than getting a master's in business association. I think a lot of people who are getting an MBA should have considered a Juris Doctorate. That's just my own personal opinion. Obviously, I could be wrong there. Another thing that I have written down is you are an entrepreneur, right? If you're someone who's just entrepreneurial, I could put myself in this own bucket. And I think this is another good reason to go to law school if you want to start a law business, right? So you're someone who's an entrepreneur and you want to start a law business. That's a phenomenal reason to go to law school because there are a lot of restrictions on who can be an owner in a legal business, right? You have to actually, in most states, I think except for Arizona, you have to be licensed to practice law in order to be a shareholder of a legal business or legal entity, or an entity that's doing legal work, right? So I think that's another great reason to go. And there are not enough of us. There are not enough entrepreneurial attorneys. And I would submit that there should be more. We need more entrepreneurs in the practice of law because we need to democratize the practice of law, right? I think it needs to work for more than just the 1%, the legal system. That's my own personal opinion. But so another good reason, the flip side of that is you're actually interested in nonprofit work. If you're someone who, wants to be a humanitarian of sorts or do non-governmental organization work, I think this is another great reason to go to law school because the things that you learn, you're going to be able to set yourself apart when applying to NGO jobs or, to work at the United Nations or, a big maybe public policy think tank or someone who's doing just charitable work maybe. Laws play a huge part of that whole ecosystem. And my understanding is there's not enough lawyers who are doing that kind of work. So if you are someone who just has a big heart, wants to make a humanitarian difference in the world, I think that's another great reason to go to law school. And this fourth reason, some people may actually disagree with me on this one, but I actually do believe that if you are just an intelligent liberal arts major and you are unsure or uncertain about your career and what you want to do, I think that you should possibly go to law school, and here's why. The reason is that a Juris Doctorate is what I call a terminating degree, right? So there's a lot of people who get a bachelor's in psychology or, like myself, maybe philosophy or literature or history, right? And they're just really smart people. They weren't necessarily into the sciences and math wasn't quite their thing, but they loved reading, they loved writing, they loved, those two things primarily. And they were a good student. They got a good GPA. They worked hard. I submit to you that going to law school is something that you may consider, or you should consider, because I believe that the Juris Doctorate degree is just tremendously flexible in how you apply it. So if you don't quite know, you're 22, 21 years old, 23 maybe, you just got out of undergrad, you don't really know what you want to do, I think it's perfectly fine to say, you know what, I'm going to go to law school because that's going to get me a terminating degree. I'm going to have a doctorate by the time I graduate, and I'll figure things out while I'm in law school. I'll intern, I'll extern. Here at OU College of Law, there's just so many opportunities to go get internships in all types of industries, things I hadn't even considered: agriculture, business, energy, nonprofit stuff, right? There's just so many different companies, foundations, entities really that need lawyers. They need people who can do this type of work. And even if they don't need a lawyer specifically, they need someone who has the skill set of a lawyer, right? And so I think that is someone who should possibly consider going to law school. And here's the last group of things that you should consider when applying to law school. Money. It's extremely expensive. I have a belief about the cost of legal education that I don't think I'll share in this video, but if you watch the playlist, I'm sure at some point I will share it. But it's very expensive to go to law school, right? I'm going to probably graduate $100,000 in debt. So if that's something that scares you, you don't want to take on those type of liabilities, you're afraid, maybe it's just too expensive, you need to consider it, right? Because I'm taking that on and I see it as an investment, right? I'm investing in myself through this education, and I believe that in the long run, I'll be able to pay myself out on that. So money is a huge consideration. Scholarships, I think, are something that people need to consider. When applying to different law schools, sometimes, in my opinion, it's better to choose the one where you're going to be able to graduate with less debt than to graduate from a university that is maybe higher ranked, but you're going to be paying full price, right? So just my own belief. Time, it's a 3-year program, usually. I know there are some 4-year programs, night programs, adult degree completion programs, things of that nature, but it takes a lot of time, especially if you're working. If you need a steady income, it's going to take up time, especially that first year where every law school across the nation, you're going to have that mandatory, 7 to 8 classes. You're not going to be able to pick your schedule. And it's kind of like that induction into the legal profession. And it takes up a lot of time, guys. So that's something you need to consider. We already talked about reading and writing. If you don't like that, then don't go to law school. Other things to consider. Egos, right? If you're someone who does not deal well with a lot of egos, a lot of type A personalities, they're just all over the legal profession, right? They're professors, deans, other students, right? These people that come in, I don't know what it is about this profession, but it definitely attracts a lot of people with really big egos, oftentimes completely unmerited and undeserved. But that is something that you will need to consider, being able to successfully navigate fragile egos, being able to navigate extreme egos, right? Competitive, right? If you're someone who doesn't like to compete, I know that some law schools do this thing where it's like, oh, we don't give out grades, like everyone is equal. It's just, I haven't been to a law school like that, but I can rest assured that it's probably not true. I at least appreciate here at OU Law, they don't even try to hide it, right? Like they're like, no, you're actually competing against the people in your section. Only a certain amount of you guys are going to get A's. We won't publish the ranks publicly, but you will be given a numeric number out of the totality of the students in your class, and you will know exactly where you fall in your graduating class. And then also there's just like the people in law school, right? Like we already talked about the ego. So you get a lot of competitiveness, a lot of sneakiness, a lot of people trying to, maybe they don't want to share their notes or they don't want to give up their edge or whatever it is, just don't like each other because, they're afraid or intimidated. If you're not a competitive person, and I always advocate for competing against yourself, right? It's not about competing against other people. You should be competing against yourself. You should be trying to outdo yourself. And that's the approach I've taken. It's worked out okay for me. But yeah, if you're not a competitive person, I would say the law is not for you. And then the last thing that you should consider is the alternative. What is your life going to look like if you do not go to law school? I think we live in a very interesting job market. I'm filming this, it's January 2023. I'm about to turn 30, and whenever I first had my bachelor's degree, or before I'd actually really completed it, I was getting a degree in philosophy, and it was like the opportunities for me were opportunities that would have been available if I didn't have the degree, or they were opportunities where I didn't even really need the degree. And it's like my belief, and goes back to why just smart liberal arts people should consider going to law school, is that an undergraduate degree has become the new high school. And graduate degrees are becoming the new university degrees. Like, humans are living longer. We're pushing off marriage and childbirth to later in life. And so I'm working in this framework in which everything has just shifted, essentially. You should just consider the alternative, really. What is your life going to look like if you don't go to law school? Am I just going to work some menial job and never really be able to reach my full potential? Because the thing about having that Juris Doctorate, that JD at the end of your name, end of your title, is that you are given a certain amount of respect whenever you insert your opinion into really any conversation, because people are just going to assume that you know what you're talking about, at least in regards to the law, whether that's true or not. And so it allows you to elevate yourself within many different professions, right? You can sit on boards of nonprofits. They always need lawyers and people with a legal background, right? You can go work for a for-profit company and work your way in the legal department, or work your way in a different department as well, and it's still going to help you grow. And so, you just need to consider the alternative. Thank you guys for watching this. A little bit longer than I thought it was going to be, but hopefully it was useful, helpful. Make sure you like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Let me know what you think, and also give me video ideas for this playlist. If you have certain questions, certain video topics you'd like to see me make a video on, I love hearing from you guys. See you in the next one. Peace.